I will introduce you to Pau Rodríguez, which is she's CEO of Methinks. Then it's Carme Pratdepàdua. She's head of the mHealth at TIC-Salut office. Then we have Julianna Ribera, who is medical director at Amalfi Analytics, and finally Pablo Prieto, who is managing director at CG Health Ventures. So thank you very much. We have chosen them because they all have very complementary roles in startups and in institutions and companies that they have a lot to say in the topic of today. As you know, we are going to talk about clinical support tools, clinical decision support tools. So please, I would like you to first start by introducing yourselves and which is the role that you are doing in your institutions or in your startups, and also emphasizing your curriculum, no? In this sense, and how you started and how you ended in a company or an institution like the one that you are now.
Do you want me to start?
Yes, you can start.
Okay, so thank you very much for the invite. My name is Pau Rodríguez. I'm the CEO of Methinks. Methinks is an AI software that is focused in stroke triage. So basically what we try to do is that when a patient has a suspected stroke and they go to a hospital, they do an on-contrast, but then they discard an hemorrhage, but then they need advanced medical imaging, contrast imaging, to see if there is a clot and how damaged is the brain, to decide if they treat the patient. Basically, what we use is AI to assess if there is a clot directly from the non-contrast. And this will allow any hospital in the world to assess timely if there is a stroke and reduce time to treatment. This can save thousands of lives in disabilities, improving the outcomes of patients. So by background, I'm an industrial engineer, and I did an MBA in Bocconi, Milan. Basically, my professional experience is in the financial services industry prior to doing the MBA. But after that, I joined an early-stage pediatric oncology startup where I helped them with business development. We happened to raise some funds and try to prepare for phase 1 studies. And then I joined Nina Capital as entrepreneur in resident because I wanted to be an entrepreneur myself, and I wanted to join and try to help a founder to bring this technology to market. So I met Christian Martí, the founder of our company, and we've raised so far 7.5 million. We won the EIC Accelerator grant. We won the Catapult, EIT Health Catapult program in 2020. We have the C mark, and now we're heading towards the FDA, the US market, and preparing Series A.
Good. Thank you, Matt.
Well, thank you for inviting me to come here today. And it's very curious because also I am an industrial engineering, and I start working on a different field related to health because I start in doing this kind of things like architecture and building, working in buildings and this kind of projects that's related to this field. And after that, I realized that what I wanted to do is something that is focused on helping people, improving their life. So I think, as my background is a technological background, so I decided to go in the public sector, no, in order to help people by using these ICT tools. So I start working on TIC-Salut the last, I think, 8 years. 8 years ago or 9, I don't remember now. But I think this is a good place to work because you feel that providing this kind of tools to the citizens can improve and can see how they can feel more comfortable with their illness. No? Sometimes it's not easy for them to deal with that. So now I'm leading the mHealth office here in TIC-Salut, which is TIC-Salut is a public agency within the Catalan Ministry of Health, and one of the main areas that I'm working on is on the mHealth solutions to assess and we have an assessment framework for mHealth apps here in TIC-Salut, try to focus on providing this kind of solutions as a minimum of guarantees for patients and also in the other sense professionals to prescribe this kind of solutions to patients. So it's a very critical part that. And in TIC-Salut, I think later on we can talk more about, but we work in different areas. So great, that's it.
Thank you, Carme. Julianna.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to share the great experience of founding a company. I have a degree in biology, I have a degree in medicine, and all my professional life was focused on data analysis, information system, digital transformation, innovation. And it's for that when I meet Professor Gavaldà, who is the other co-founder at the UPC, I see they have the tools to solve the problems I usually have in my profession. Then the decision to establish a company, Amalfi Analytics, for translate to the put in the reality these solutions and these tools was a necessity and very natural for me. It's because that in Amalfi Analytics we apply AI, in particular machine learning, to the macro and meso management levels. For years, companies has used and has advanced in operational decision making, and hospitals cannot be an exception. The clinical decision makings are very, very important, yes, but also have the good processes, also have a good organization and tools. And it becomes more important than ever now the hospitals operate efficiently. The sustainability of the systems is the sustainability of the process, not only the point of care.
Great. So, Pablo.
Cool. I'll keep it short so we can jump into the meat of the debate. Pablo Prieto, Managing Director at CG Health Ventures. We're an early stage fund based here in Barcelona. We invest in pre-seed, seed, or Series A healthcare ventures. I'm a biologist by training. Most of my career in pharmaceuticals, different roles, and the last 9 on e-health startups, specifically digital therapeutics, so software as a medical device.
Thank you, Pablo. So I was really interested in asking you, because I think you have very different backgrounds. So I like your vision, right? So regarding the implementation of your solutions to the health system, no? How do you think, which are the challenges installing your solutions into private hospital versus public hospitals? And for instance, directly to TIC-Salut and Pablo, maybe if you could just talk about your current, for instance, in TIC-Salut, no? The current initiatives that you are doing, the pilots you have done in the past, because I think they are very interesting because they are pilots, of course, exactly. But they are kind of the top of the iceberg, no? That
exactly.
They see that how these solutions could be somehow implemented.
Yes, totally agree. I actually, we pilot in 2017 a pilot that we tried to integrate, these digital solutions. In that sense, it was 4 apps for a different kind of illness, or disease. And this was a pilot that we did in 4 primary care centers here in Catalonia. That in the Metro Sud, yes, for primary care centers. We selected primary care because there has only one information system, which is ECAP, as most of you know. And there were 100 of people involved and several around, I think, 30 professionals. That the main, what we wanted to see in that pilot is to prescribe these kind of solutions in their consultancies. In that sense, a physician goes to the consultancy, the healthcare professionals prescribe these kind of solutions, and after 3 months later, they come again in their consultancy and check if their data was collected properly, doing an mConnect platform. That it's a platform that now it's in the healthcare provider to see how they can scale up to the system. And this platform, it's a platform that helps to integrate different kind of solutions that are being created by different enterprises in order to not spend the professional go to different kind of platforms to see the data of the patient. Because as most of you know, the most problem here is that we have 80% of the population are considered as a chronic patient. So we have a multi-diversity of illness that a patient has. No? So in that sense, we can see that we have a diabetic patient, also a mental health patient problem, and a lot of problems. That in that sense, I think it was a very good pilot. We have a good results. But now what the healthcare department is focused on is to focus in the healthcare procedures. It's not, but because one of the things that we found is when you want to include a solution into the healthcare system, you have to take into account which is the healthcare process that these solutions are going to be used. Because it's not the same if it's a diabetic patient or is a patient that maybe has been past surgery in vaccines, imagine. So the situation is very different, and the whole process is different as well. So they start in diabetes, and after that I think it's mental health and so on and so forth. So this is the pilot that we did. And this is I think, a good point. Always, something also to consider is that in this environment, it's something to take into account, very important, that all these solutions has to guarantee a minimum set of standards in order to have a good solution to be used by patients. So this is also a key point on that part.
Mm-hmm. And question for Pablo. Are we very far from countries like Germany regarding the prescription? No? Carme was talking about the prescription of these solutions. How do you think we could reach that point? No? That these digital solutions could be prescribed in our system.
I have first-hand experience in prescriptions of DIGAs, and I have to say that sometimes the picture is painted a little bit more optimistic than the reality in Germany. The physicians are getting more used to prescribing digital therapeutics, for instance, and so I agree in that regard that they may look a little bit more advanced. On the other hand, I think a lot of the physicians here and elsewhere in Europe also appreciate that they are overworked, overburdened with patients, and then they could use better workflows in their daily basis. So I don't think it's something abysmal that cannot be bridged. That's the first message that I want to give. In terms of piloting this, it is true that the German environment provides better piloting and also better opportunities for scale-up, which is something that other European countries are missing. And finally, because we're a global fund, I also want to paint a little bit of what's happening outside of Europe, because as an investor, one of the key criteria that we use is, can this solution scale up beyond Spain or Germany or Europe and go to the US or Asian markets, for instance. And there, I think, and this goes back to the first topic that you raised, I think most of the companies that we're seeing are lacking a structured way on how to scale up those. The US system is very different, the incentives are very different, and so sometimes it's difficult to come across talent in startups that can tackle commercial scale-up programs for different geographies. And it's all fair, but we like people that think big and think, okay, I'm going to start this in Spain, maybe Germany, and then move it on to bigger markets, and that will require adaptation for sure. So Are we very far? I don't think so. I think some of the political stance that we're seeing in some of the regions in Spain is favorable. But let's not forget, Spain has 17 different healthcare buyers in the different regions, and Catalonia is 6 million. So I face this decision: should I go to Denmark or should I go to Catalonia, for instance, right? So these are the decisions that, as a business manager, you need to make when you're trying to scale up, right? In Germany, if you go to Germany, it's a single centralized decision under DIGA model, so you access immediately a potential population of 80 million. So there is still room for improvement, I guess.
Difficult decision.
In that sense, I think one of the solutions is the Level 2 Enable project, which focus on the promotion of, in the different European countries, the promotion of the adoption of the ISO 82304. This is that European Commission is focused on that for medical apps, medical devices apps, and wellness apps. So I think this will be the solution that provides a label that follows like the look and feel as a like we do in our fridge or whatever, that you can see A, B, C, or D rated in different colors, and in a one glance you can see if this solution is healthy and safe, is secure, has a secure data, is reverse built, or easy to use. This is the 4 main domains that can be in the market in iOS or Android. No, when you download a device or whatever like DIGA can use this. So I think this is maybe a good point to take into account.
Very interesting, Carme. And so regarding the startups, Amalfi and Methinks, how do you make, or how are you planning to do your systems interoperable with the current systems that are already in the hospitals? This is something that you already have, or something that you're planning to?
Well, first of all, I will remember when people think about AI in medicine, they tend to focus in clinical decision, in precision medicine. I said that, and we work at the level of management. Then our model is software as a service, and with all of standards, and we reuse the data the hospitals have with codes as SNOMED, as the International Classification of Disease. The minimum basic data set is very standardized, is good quality in all the countries, and is enough for this level of predictability, for this level of characterize the patterns of the patients, and make decisions about the organization of the hospital, of the service, or the primary care. And it's for that we have not these problems with the as device or another solutions. We have not problems with the compliance of the European regulations, or the scalability, or the interoperability, because the data we use, it's verified.
Good.
Then we have not problem at this level.
In your case, Pau, how are you?
So basically, our workflow is that a patient gets an on-contrast CT scan. This goes to the PACS, that is the server that archives all the images. And then this is anonymized and is sent to the cloud where it's processed. And then we give an answer back to the clinicians that are involved in the different hospitals. So obviously, you need to be GDPR compliant here in Europe and HIPAA compliant in the US. This is fundamental. So there are 2 key challenges. One is the compliance aspect, which you need the procedures regarding GDPR, and you need to have a data protection officer and work thoroughly on that. The other one is security issues that are also very relevant, how you build your algorithms. So you cannot simply get a bunch of engineers to do the code. You really need to make sure that this code is secure, that the data is very controlled, that these are, we like to say, an industrialized process of how you end up delivering this. This regarding the implementation. Then obviously we're a regulated device, so we are a class 2B. We're certified by BSI. And this is a very complex process because, as you know, AI is very, very new. So also for the notified bodies, they're learning how to do all this process. So it was very, very complex. If anybody goes through this process, let me know if I can help. I'm more than happy to do so. And yeah, it's a matter of explaining the clinical utility, the use, and how to overcome all these technology challenges.
Good. So, Pau, now that you have introduced the topic, AI, that is present in all the conferences, how do you think this will change the clinical practice? How do you think this will cope with the physicians? No, this will just complement physicians' work. How do you envision this?
So for sure, AI is not going to substitute clinicians. It is not the goal, or at least it's not our goal. And it's not even a solution that is perfect. It's not something that, humans are not perfect, AI is not perfect. You need to build a solution that is robust, that you test, that you prepare, but complements what clinicians are doing. So for example, in our case, let's go back to the workflow. Get that on contrast CT, send to the cloud, process the image. Okay, you're providing a suspected stroke, but it's the clinician who makes the call whether you transfer the patient or not. So they would look at the neurological exploration, they may want to do additional studies, but at least you make him aware or her aware that there is a suspected stroke. And that should be the expectation of what AI is doing, at least in our case. And I think it's very important to manage these expectations also with clinicians, with technologies.
Sure. And what's your opinion? What you would prioritize in the AI?
I'm going to take the stance here, optimistic, like Pau, in many ways. I think it's going to change a lot the way medicine is done in the next decade. But as it happens often in early days, we need to be careful. Remember that physicians always have the motto of first do no harm. And it's already been the case where we've seen algorithmic bias. You're trying to develop algorithms that work well in a subset of population. And we're in the 21st century where no longer solutions that are only applicable to a subset of population should be acceptable. And this has been true, for instance, in dermatology, with skin types and a few others. And so I think it's going to be a dramatic change. I still think that medicine is about humans caring for humans, so we cannot miss that human element and calls. Well, Pau, you were saying about the physician making the call. I think that's still going to be the case, but we're going to be seeing a significant workload. If you think about medical profession of, all the physician assistants, all the technicians, etc., whose life may become much easier in that regard. So what I said earlier about optimized workflows, I think that's what we're looking at maybe 10 years from now, rather than a robot coming here and treating me.
Regarding sustainability, so Julianna.
No, I agree. The ultimate decision-making is human, but in medicine, the algorithms need be explainable because the trust with the algorithms is needed, is an obligation. And I hope we will use artificial intelligence because without artificial intelligence, the systems we know and we have at this moment is not sustainable. It's for that, no, the practice don't change the next decades, I'm sure. But yes, the model of the system in general. I think the impact is more at the level of the system than in the medicine, in the practitioner, in the day-to-day of the physician.
And regarding TIC-Salut, Carme,
Yes.
are you implementing some standards for AI
Actually,
solutions?
we have a program in AI program, a health AI program that was launched last month. That is focused to identify. No, we can go to the website because I think the main objectives of this program is to identify this kind of algorithms, classify the grade of maturity of these algorithms, which is the entity that are creating these algorithms, in order to make equity within the system, because there are some geographical parts in Catalonia that develop a lot and are more specified in some diseases than others, and which is the first step to identify which are these algorithms. And after that, what is going to be launched is some kind of challenges. The first one, it will be challenges in order to that the people or entities, that develop some kind of algorithms related to this challenge, try to assess this challenge in order to select the best one, in order to scale up to the system. These are going to be in the next month. The first one will be in rhinopathia diabetica. This is the first. The second, it will be in the thorax, processing this kind of images in the thorax radiography. And the third one is in dermatology. So this is how they prioritize these challenges. So I recommend that visit this website, this program AI in Departament de la Salut. So I think it's one step to be a first step, to identify which kind of algorithms are developed here in Catalonia, and the second part is focused in compliance, the trustworthy AI, and this kind of explicability and this kind. So we'll see in the next month. I think in the next year, Susana Uso, which is my colleague, that is responsible for AI. Maybe it's the best person that will came the next year here.
Okay, we'll invite her next year.
About the results.
Good. So as we are in an investment forum, so I would like to take advantage of Pablo, that is a digital health investor. And I would like to ask you directly, so what digital health investors are looking for now? Which are the preferred projects, at least for your fund? If you could talk a little bit about what you prioritize, what are the first aspects that you check in a startup to decide an investment?
So for us, and I think this is common for many funds, is usually the team. Pau is, Methinks is one of our portfolio companies, so you look for someone like Pau, who actually is driven, who has the experience and the capacity to scale it up. It is true. I mean, the first thing that you look at is the team. So you want to have confidence. First-time entrepreneurs in environments as complex as healthcare, plus the complication extra of doing it in digital, it's not an easy task. I think, my career has been 20 years in healthcare, in the industry. It's difficult for me still to grasp the concept and how some things are going to be scaling up. And as a venture fund, I'm still placing bets on things that are very, very uncertain. So as an entrepreneur, either you are very driven and very passionate and very resourceful, or you probably won't succeed in doing so. So team, utmost importance. Number two for us is some sort of product market fit, if there is anything. So are there potential clients already asking for this or not? If they're not, then there needs to be a very clear technological advantage, right? So something that really blows what's right now the status quo. And again, I think Methinks could be that. and the third one for us is scalability. I mean, different funds have different approaches to this, but for us, I said this in reference to different buyers, in Spain being 17 different buyers, but you could also look at from the data structuring, which is very different. Electronic healthcare records are different. It's a very fragmented market, but they're different in the US than in Europe. They're different in hospital settings and primary care settings, and you have different business models. So that means that you need to have the capacity to look beyond multiple layers of complexity and be able to structure that in a global setting. For us, that's what we look. Because we're investing money and we want return on our investment, and that means that you need to be able to either successfully become the prime and dominant player in a single market, or you need to achieve substantial market share in several markets. We think it's better to be in several markets. So. But other investors may think and have different theses. Specifically, investors that are coming more so from the biology-based, biotechnology-based healthcare funds, they they play with longer terms of investment, and they may be a little bit bolder in some propositions.
And regarding competitors, because this is something that it really depends on the investor. So having competitors, or quite a lot of competitors, it could be good or it could be bad, depending on how do you consider them, right? Maybe they are competitors, but they could be also allies for the company or possible buyers in the future.
I always think that it's better to have some competition than no competition, and strategics better to have them by your side than against you. So I think it's a no-brainer, right? I mean, as a startup, you usually have limited resources, limited time, and any help that you can get from either a strategic or from competition in breaking barriers, I think it's going to be helpful. I mean, bringing this to any of the companies that we have here, any of the two, if there is anyone else that is developing an AI solution for imaging and it's breaking ground in a couple of hospitals, when Pau knocks on that door, it's probably going to be easier for him to land that account. So I prefer some competition than no competition. I think the blue ocean kind of attitude, it's great if you're Elon Musk. If you're not, then maybe some competition is better.
Good. I agree. And so regarding Pau and Julianna, I would like to ask you, which has been your most difficult challenge as an entrepreneur? So it was maybe building the team, looking for financing.
Maybe I talk about the first. The first was we established the company at 2018. And we have the opportunity to develop the products with a first round of investment just at the beginning of the pandemic. The shutdown of the COVID was really a problem. And the challenge was survive these years because the market, it was very difficult to experiment in hospitals to make a pilot, and only in few hospitals with professionals very, very committed and curious about these technologies allows us to prove and to test our products. That was one big
So you would say
challenge.
that surviving the pandemic.
And the other is, I said, a mental focus about AI in medicine is diagnosis, is treatment. No, manager is politics. No. And it's a problem of sell the idea that artificial intelligence is for all the needs we have. It's not only for the retinopathy, diabetic retinopathy. It's very important, yes, but how is the real evolution of the diabetics in Terres de l'Ebre and in Terem and Pirineos are different, then we must know that, and with patterns, with machine learning, it's very, very easy. It's for that one challenge for me, more than investors, yes, was to sell the idea AI is for all.
It's for everything, and also to allocate resources that are very important in hospitals.
Yeah.
And you, Pau, what has been your most difficult challenge?
So there are many challenges that probably the first big challenge that we have and something is that when you start a company, you speak with the clinicians and you say, hey guys, if you build an AI that is able to assess stroke with an on-contrast, this is the holy grail. So you go with that and say, we need to build a technology capable to do that. And then you go fundraising, and then they say, okay, you have the challenge of having high-level technology to have very high accuracy. You have very complex regulatory challenges. You need to change the guidelines, and you have competitors that have raised 250 million, and you're based in Barcelona, and you're 4 guys with a pilot. Okay, so now you need to raise certain amount of funds to compete in this scenario. So even if, probably in the US, I think that we should get this spirit from the US of saying, okay, we need a big problem with a big pain, a big willingness to pay, and let's work on the technology. What we managed to do is to bring on board, and then the pandemic came, so fundraising was tremendously complex. At the end of the day, we managed to do so because we brought very passionate key opinion leaders, very good investors that saw the potential growth of that technology. But that leap of faith can only be done with an understanding of the vision and the team, and really you need to make an effort that is very intense. So trying to define the round, trying to call these, define the equity story and how much you want to fundraise, that very first investment is fundamental. But then you need to do it. So then you need to get the team, you need to get the technology there, you need to go the regulatory. But that's the first big challenge that you may have.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you answered the question that I had for you afterwards. No, I just wanted to ask you to give just one tip or two tips to the entrepreneurs that are just starting to raise the first rounds. So what is your tip that you would say?
It's difficult. It's difficult. I understand because, for example, if they want to present a solution in the public sector, for SMEs or startups, it's very difficult, because that they have to present these standards with a high requirements that to be accomplished, and at the end, there are the big ones. I know that this is the big barrier. So my recommendation is be patient, be committed, and obviously I think don't despair of it, because I think choose a proper team. It's a must. Yeah. But I don't know how we can change that model and that problem. Mm-hmm. So as a public sector, I imagine. But in the first round of investments, I think focusing in a good initiative that it's really innovative, that helps these solutions would be the first step. But it's not easy. It's not easy. I don't have the answer. So
No.
Maybe. More that.
I'm going to take that as an opportunity to. Plan ahead. I think big and plan ahead. I mean, Pau was a little bit alluding to this, I think, if I got your idea right. And you're saying it too. I mean, if you have a great solution, it could be technologically fantastic. It could make a lot of clinical sense. If you haven't really thought through the steps, and specifically, I'm going to make a statement about the last step. How are you going to sell that technology? What's going to be your margin? Because ultimately, that's going to affect what's going to be my return on investment as an investor. If you're into developing great technology, you don't need to dilute yourself. There is non-dilutive sources of funding in Europe. They abound. There is plenty of money to do that. I think you should go and seek a professional investment from when you're in a position where you have a plan, to a certain extent, tried and tested, and you want to scale up. And you want to think globally. Here in Europe, I talk to a lot of startups who say, what's going to be your business model? They say, okay, I don't really know. Maybe it's going to be DIGA, maybe it's going to be this, maybe it's going to be that. But the truth is what Carme just said. If you're depending on the public sector, it's going to take a long time. It's long selling cycles. They're very hard to penetrate. The incumbents are not going to let you in very easily. So it's going to be hard. So what's your plan B? And your plan B, maybe it's go to the US, where every medical act has a billing code, and it will produce revenue for the physicians, and then there is an incentive for physicians or insurers to uptake your solution. So think about how you're going to be selling this, make a plan. Your investors are going to be your sounding board, if they're doing it right, and they're also going to help you if they invest after. So that's my recommendation. Make a proper plan, long-term vision, think big.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but if you have a vision, you must be ambitious, and don't be afraid to sell the idea, to talk with the investors, with the competitors, with all the people, and try and not decay, because if it's not now, maybe the next month, and
you will find a perfect investor.
I can say in English, "Qui dia passa any empeny."
good. Thank you. Thank you for this advice. So you wanted to
I
say
would
something
say
else?
one thing that is, I resonate a lot with Pablo, and the thing is that for me what is very important to understand is that you need to build an equity story of the company, that you need a goal, a vision, and then you have different milestones. And you don't need to know all the milestones precisely, but you need to know that you need different kind of people from different milestones and fundraise enough to go from milestone to milestone. If you speak with an entrepreneur that doesn't understand this as the concept or doesn't have access to somebody that can help him, it's going to be very difficult to grow the company. So try to surround with people that can help you vision these milestones and find the proper team to do all this. It can be done if it's done diligently, but it's very important because if not, you focus a lot on the pain, you focus a lot on the technology, but you end up going nowhere. So try to structure a bit this and find people that can help you.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. So thank you very much. It's been great discussions. I don't know if someone from the audience would like to ask something to the panelists. If not, we will start with startup pitches. But you have the opportunity to ask them if you want. No one? Okay. So I think we are on time. Thank you very much for your collaboration. It's been great pleasure. Thank you. And please, Fernando, I think you can come and we can start with the startup pitches. Thank you very much.
Thank you.